Was it a bird?
Yeah, where I live, we have pheasants and turkeys, and
Oh,
we have all kinds of wildlife here.
which do you think that might have been?
Oh, that was a pheasant. That was a male pheasant. They make that
So
loud hate to me.
Oh, I'm not going to do that again today.
You gotta warm your throat muscles up first.
Must be a very robust bird.
They're nice sized birds, yeah.
We
Pheasants are like small turkeys in a way.
turkeys that promenade through the back garden and the neighborhood.
Well, my future in-laws very much enjoy their birds, and they have chickens, turkeys, and pheasants, and it's beautiful where we live. It's absolutely nice, and I have a good opportunity to come outside and write and be in the sunshine and see the beauty of the world.
All this wonderful talking about birds makes me remember how much I want to interview Nishan Neal about her book, Lilith.
Yes, I was ready to purchase that right before everything happened to me. I'm quite excited myself to pick up a copy here within the next few weeks, and I'm very interested to read. She's just wonderful. She's talented, and she does anything. I'll take a look at it, and no worries there. She's fantastic.
I'm looking forward to have a better grasp of my own link infrastructure so that I can have these links closer at hand. No, wait, I'm receiving a transmission. T.me/s/the Metanoiac portal has collected notes and links, and I would be shocked if Lilith was not on there. Shocked. Wow, that was a good transmission.
I know her book's available on Amazon. It's pretty easy to find, and I know it's going to do well because I believe in Michonne.
There was a question I was leading to before, and I wonder what it was. I think it was how would you talk about, with everybody considering what's going on these days, the different worlds and experiences of fictional apocalypse and non-fictional apocalypse. I would tend to talk about this in terms of community and our relationships with one another and how we navigate that space, especially knowing how many trauma survivors are drawn to horror media, but can't necessarily determine whether they're interacting with the kinds of horror aficionados who would keep them safe in the real world.
I know there's a lot of memes.
This world. Apologies.
Oh, you're okay. I mean, I see a lot of memes. I see a lot of people making light and being serious of the situation. I see a lot of people posting that they're watching George Romero's movies, which I've always been a fan of myself. And a lot of the apocalyptic films, people are interested in the subject. Anything that happens on a worldwide scale is going to initiate conversation. It's going to reflect in the art community. It's going to reflect upon our lives as a whole. And that's absolutely happening with the coronavirus now.
Do you think that the media that's out there that does not respect certain populations of people or the experience of certain really traumatized individuals, do you think that, how conscious do you think those folks tend to be that there, my question changed 3 times as I got through that sentence. If you want to interject anything, please do. I will scramble for a bit and then something will happen.
Yeah, okay. I mean, as far as how I see the politicians and the big people that lead this country and the world itself, I don't think necessarily, not all of them are into how we're really feeling about this, how we're living our lives. I don't think every politician sits down every day and thinks about the normal life of the everyday person, especially people who may identify as a different gender, racial issues and inequalities that are out there.
There are so many different, there are so many different kinds of people in the world. It is inevitable that generally none of us knows very much or enough about all of these other different groups of people. And so there's this huge experience gap. And I thank you for bringing up what do we call mass media or mainstream media or similar, but also I'm very interested in the culture around this in the horror industry, where dark subjects are welcomed and interesting, and something to be drawn to, and at the same time, living beings are being slaughtered and decimated now. And that's really happening. So burying our noses in horror media and being affected by the psychological onslaught of the political media is, suicidal isn't a strong enough word. Apocalyptic can be hopeful. Apologies for my interjection.
You're okay. You're okay. I don't know. Every subject has to be explored. You cannot fault a person for the things that they think about and the things that interest them. And I'm sure you have your people out there now that are screaming this is the end of everything. And you have your people out there on the total opposite end of the spectrum saying, we're going to defeat this. We need to be positive. We need to take the proper steps to keep ourselves safe and eliminate this thing. So it's just, it is what it is, but you can't tell a person what to think, and you can't fault a person for looking into the things that they think about. Now, whether they're right or wrong, that's where it comes into morals and how you feel about things. It's a whole nother subject. But
the place where I would tend to bring up community is where so many people are being legitimately traumatized, and most of them, I would say, invisibly, most of the time. Because as a culture, we, like I don't know, everything here, words, we're taught to repress trauma and repress trauma and repress trauma, and we happen to have gone missing our most effective earth-based resources and practices to keep the planet safe and keep each other safe. And where we lost those in our real world horror story that's going on all the time, we were repressing all of this terrible abuse and difficulty that's going on in the way that some business has conducted itself, and some political things and engines and like economic things, and all, like, people are dealing with heavy trauma, whether they would call it trauma or not, a lot of the time. And when they are interested in the fullest possible exploration of what hurt them. And I interact with people who are like that a lot, and I am like that a lot. And I know that having more ways to explore subjects that lots of people don't think are okay to ever talk about or think about. Having the ability to creatively navigate and practice being a being in that kind of traumatizing space, that's a real survival skill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, again, back to my movie for a second. The first part is about a schizophrenic. And I have someone special in my life that is, so I don't take it lightly. But again, these things have to be explored, and you have to have, as an individual, an outlet to either make peace at the things that have traumatized you, or just basically, regardlessly, to understand that those things happen, and maybe just for whatever reason, as far as why you're traumatized, it may be very difficult to approach it and face it, but it's important to do that and to look at the positive side of those things. Even you may not see one, but I'm a believer that there's positivity in everything.
What would you say to communities of people who enjoy horror media, but that would not be able to draw a line between horror entertainment and harm to a person or harm to a creature? How would you talk about that, would you say?
Again, I would try to explain that art is art. Everybody's is different. You take 5 artists and sit them down. They might all be different artists of different, you might have a drawer, a painter, a filmmaker, you know, it's just.
They're expressing such different things.
Exactly, and it's not often that you can express things that aren't flowing naturally. As an artist myself, I put on paper what comes to me. I don't force it. I don't try to be something that I'm not. I accept the art that comes out of me.
That's
and
so
I work with it.
It's really, really important what you're saying, because when human beings stop doing that, they, I don't know, how would you describe it? It's terrible. It deconstructs you as a person to not express yourself in the way that fixes things. And
Yeah,
so, you know, not having a safe space to do that is.
That's it. I mean, it's isolating, and it depraves you of who you are. I mean, you got to find a way to have an outlet. If you got to be alone, if you have to go to a beautiful spot in the middle of nowhere, and if you can't do these things, headphones for me have always been a blessing. I love music. I put music in my head and things happen. It's just very, very important. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you want to do, you have to make that time to become the person that is trying to move their way up. You know, if you want to do any kind of art, give it a shot. If that's your outlet, if it's not your outlet, do what makes you happy and what makes you feel good. You got to have that break from reality. There's times where I put away social media. I try to turn off the world for a little bit, and I paint my own picture of the world.
I'm very interested in finding more ways to create more safe spaces for people to express themselves in the way that is really right for them at that time, and be safe doing it, not have people attacking them as a result of it, being able to move in and out of that kind of space where it's right for them to do so. For instance, not going to that space and then getting trapped there for the rest of their lives. Being able to share their expressions with others in open ways that use languages people understand, and could draw them income streams which seems like a really natural progression to me. I was going to bring up music and meditation because you mentioned music again, so there's a segue.
There you go. I mean, it would be beautiful if we had local places in every town community that opened up a building to bring in children, adults, whoever of all ages to practice their hobbies that they may not have another place to do that. I don't know how ideal it is. I think it's a beautiful idea. But you have to make your way. I mean, I go to a local spot. I climb my way up a little bit of a train to get to an isolated area. I have the water, I have the sunshine. It just, I don't know, it's very, very important, especially in times like these, that we give ourselves the outlet to understand what we're feeling and to not cope with it, but to make good with it.
Do we have, what am I trying to say? Horror style media, meditation and music spaces for people who are aware of the legitimate real world goings on connected to the media they're observing. Because we have it everywhere. It's everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's underneath the surface. What a horror movie.
Right. I mean, we have the internet, we have social media. You know, I don't think there are enough places for people to go and talk about what concerns them in a caring and intimate environment where, you know, everybody is non-judgmental. I don't think we have enough places like that. No.
Well, let's build more.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of tired of apocalypse these days. It's wearing on me.
You know, I went online yesterday and I posted a screenshot of a music video and I said, let's play a game. I'm going to pick obscure videos and somebody chime in and tell me which video this is, and we'll keep going through it. Other people are doing a lot of different other things on social media as well to try to avoid this negative energy per se. There's also always the just turn off your phone. You know, if you have family that are in critical condition or you have people that you have to take care of, I get that, but turn off your phone, turn off and tune out.
Find
it's good for you.
Some space somewhere, somehow, and in the meantime, we're all working on this, so be in touch with us.
Absolutely.
I should say something about that, like a link, Intuitive.pub/radio. There you go. That was easy. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I think that's important. And I mean, if we would all do our part to generate a space where people could feel safe, there are communities for all types of lifestyles. We know this. I mean, nobody knows how deep some of those communities go. But there are social media communities that are very welcoming of people with all kinds of lifestyles, beliefs, things that they want to talk about and do. So if you can be a part of those things, do it. Especially if you have per se like a niche lifestyle or just you have a belief that you find maybe not appreciated by so many. Reach out, find people that share your belief.
We are building those kinds of platforms because a person deserves a kind of community support for saying what they physically need to say. And people really get destroyed having their expression silenced because it's not safe anywhere. But we have all this talk these days about expression being a thing that we can do, and supposedly it's sanctioned and facilitated by professionals and things like that. So I don't think that there's a problem with that. It's just we haven't built the spaces that people really need. And Intuitive.pub/radio, Intuitive Public Radio, and Intuitive Community, and some associated members of the ecology of the biotox apocalypse have been working on all of this while navigating the apocalypse. So it's great fun. And there are ways to survive, and there's no need to melt down in isolation because internet. So what was that, an ad? When are we going to talk about schizophrenia?
Okay. We can go at it. I'm not.
Do you want to? How about I could use a break for a bit and then return to the conversation if that's cool, like if that's something
Yeah.
we could do.
If you could take 10 minutes and then I could work with you until 10:30, I have to leave my house at 11, so I can do that.
I can tell time and everything. I'm excited. You will see how brilliantly I succeed. Bio break, be back in 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds great. I'll be ready.